Hey, welcome to the show today. For those who don't know, we are Credit is Life, and we have a great one for you today. Credit is Life. That's our little sound effect right there. We're going to be talking about some concerns that you might experience with real estate, and we are going to try to best prepare you for the landscape so that you can make the right decision and be informed. So please stick around. We'll go ahead and get started right away. So let's go ahead and talk about our first issue. And there are common types of real estate issues, and I'm going to elaborate on this a little bit more. So there are a lot of types of real estate issues that we should be wary of, and these are numerous common forms of real estate issues. Many different kinds of real estate problems exist. Others are legally related, like boundaries, disputes, limits regarding the sale of property. Others are related to the conditions of contracts or legalities of a transaction. So it is vital to find out if the real estate lawsuit arises and it has a valid legal issue prior to filling it out. So we're talking here about lawsuits and why that's a issue with real estate that can turn into a nightmare. You want to make sure that when you're doing anything in the form of law, you get representation, hopefully a good lawyer that can help you out with that, because it is a mess. Now, the issue of misrepresentation is going to be something else that we're going to discuss. Let's go ahead and dive into that. And basically, we're talking about just looking at ways to safeguard yourself against legal issues and to make sure you're submitting the right forms. So let's talk about ESG's effect. And this will be helpful to go over how this is really big into the transactions that we go over. So this is part of our second slide. So as we discuss this, ESG's effect on transactions in real estate climate. Now, this is important to keep in mind that there is going to be change and growing concern about social equity. ESG has gained traction in the realm of real estate. The emerging method allows investors to assess the effects of their real estate investments, as well as encourage eco-friendly, sustainable structures. Now, this method assists businesses in measuring and earning certifications dependent on their environmental performance. The end result is that this method can bring more money and unique lending opportunities to companies who are dedicated to adopting sustainable practices. An ESG complete approach begins with being aware of the needs of the stakeholder. In the next step, it will prioritize the aspects that have the biggest impact. Furthermore, ESG performance metrics must be quantifiable to show improvements. Organizations are required to follow the new rules and requirements for reporting to demonstrate their progress and take immediate action. In particular, many firms must now disclose their ESG performance data. So this is pretty profound information. We're going to dive a little bit more into how ESG plays a role in real estate a little further along the line. But let's go ahead and move into one of the third concerns that we need to be aware of. So the bottom line is really that investors need to consider the way the new ESG policies impact the assets that they're investing in. So that's what they really should be considering. All right, let's go ahead and move right into our next slide. Okay, now we're going to be talking about the legal issues and the legal side. Now, legal aspects of real estate transactions are more guided because it's important in real estate investing, and it's usually very important in making profits. Now, given the significant value of real estate, as well as its capacity for transactions involving cash, it's a popular choice for investments. Now, it's possible for real estate transactions to be an easy target for criminals due to their high susceptibility to fraud, as well as lack in legal knowledge. Now, if there's a potential buyer that asks whether they have the right to cancel in a particular, expert real estate professional could refer to a clause in a purchase agreement that states that buyers can negotiate the terms of the contract. It also is possible to state that he or she may have experience handling cases where the buyer forfeited an earnest amount of money in a deposit. He or she can't advise the buyer to file a lawsuit against the seller or assure that the buyer will have their money returned. Now, this is where having expert legal advice can be helpful because it can help you with these problems. Let's dive a little bit further into real estate problems that are commonplace. Incorrect representation on real estate is a hot topic. This can happen when brokers are representing real estate or sellers are using false information to lure a prospective buyer into purchasing their property. Commonly, these misrepresentations relate to the foundation's stability or boundary lines of the property. Now, some type of misrepresentations involved indisclosure and unresolved matters, for instance, issues with easements of titles over a property. So you want to make sure that you are watching out for some of these issues. Let's go ahead and move into our final topic, and we're going to full screen it for you. Now, negligent misrepresentation occurs when an agent or seller fails to disclose important facts about the property. Fraud happens when the seller or broker purposely misrepresents the property. Now, to cover up irrelevant facts such as let's just say a problem with the house, seller may employ photo editing software. Now, misrepresentation can be a result of an agreement or statement or a document. A typical instance is when the seller might have misrepresentation in order to lure the attention to a potential buyer, maybe the size of the property or the size of a problem. Now, sellers could misrepresent their place of residence, which could result in an unfavorable purchase contract. Now, this is a big deal in real estate. This is something that happens quite often. And this is something as a buyer you really need to be aware of and be on your toes about, because these are things that happen and can turn buying a property into a nightmare. Another issue with this is that it will ruin your potential ability to cash flow. It's important in real estate for you to always have the ability to cash flow in real estate. This is important because cash flow is not going to bleed you, but instead be a big source of where your profits are going to come from. And you are going to want to focus on making sure that you are maximizing to the best of your ability your opportunities to make profit. Very smart. So without further ado, we hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to go ahead and bring us back full screen. And we're going to ask at this point that you please like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. We're going to be back with more information about real estate. We're talking about the pros and the cons. We're talking about the good and the bad, some of the things that are nightmares and some of the things that are dreams. And we really want to dive into ways that you can better your life with real estate. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of the channel. Make sure you leave a comment so you can continue to be a part of the community. And above all else, be well. We will see you soon.